Hello, welcome back. I'm sitting here in a coffee shop in McLeod. What a beautiful area this is, opposite the McLeod train station. It's quite tranquil. And while I was driving around looking at some properties, I thought I'd take a break. And I've been thinking this week about one of the events, which was we signed an agreement with a local builder who subsequently has also signed an agreement with an international company, a developer, and they're wanting to purchase anywhere between 40 and 50 sites over the next few years, and we've been tasked with the responsibility of finding a lot of these sites for them for a particular use, which I can't disclose at this stage, but it reminded me of some of the things that we learnt at valuation school, which is really, really important. And one of the things we learnt that may give some of the viewers a lot of clarity around what real estate really is what we call the triangle of tension. And what the triangle of tension is that all real estate starts off with three things. It starts off with a site looking for a use. There's a use looking for a site, and there's an investor / developer who's wanting to profit from this opportunity. So an example would be a petrol station. So there's a site somewhere in Melbourne that's wanting to be a petrol station. Then you've got the use, which is the petrol station that is looking around for a site. And then you need a developer with money and / investor, someone who can actually put the two things together and profit from that arrangement. And all real estate, doesn't matter whether it's residential or commercial, it all starts with that idea. And it's really, really critical for people to understand that when they're looking at real estate, the initial stages of creating that particular use on that site has started with this triangle of tension. So my clients often come to me requesting a finished product, whether it be a house, a townhouse, a commercial property, etc. And what they often see is what's finished, but what they don't see is what's behind it and how this product came into being. And the way any type of real estate comes into being is through this triangle of tension, which is really, really critical. And what is it? So let's talk about where it all starts. It all starts with a developer / investor. So the developer / investor has money in the bank, and the money in the bank is earning a risk-free rate. That risk-free rate depends on what the interest rates are at the time, what the interbank lending is. And that risk-free rate could be, let's say for argument's sake, 4% or 5%. And in order for a developer or an investor to pull the money out of there, they need to earn a much higher return. So what they're typically looking for is a hurdle rate of maybe 15% or 12% or 20%. So if the hurdle rate is a lot more than what they would be getting in the bank, they would then use that money, either all the money or some of the money in combination with debt, to invest in this new venture. And the new venture in real estate will always involve two components. One is the land, so it's a site looking for a use, and then there's the operator or the use looking for the site. So typically the investor and the developer want a big return. The site, which is owned by a vendor, that's handled by the listing agent. And the vendor wants to sell that site at a high price. I'm the buyer's agent, and I typically want to buy that block at as low a price as I can, making sure that the vendor is happy, but typically I don't want to overpay for that site. And the use or the operator is looking to pay as low rent as possible in order to use that site for a particular purpose, because the lower the rent, the more the profit. And the more the profit, the more valuable the business may or may not be. But the developer or investor, they want the rent to be as high as possible, because often these products, or whether it be a commercial product or a residential product, often not so much residential, but with commercial, the rent will determine the market value. But also too with residential, a property that can actually collect more rent will also be more valuable, whether it be an extra bedroom, an extra bathroom or car, etc. So you can see there's a tension between those three areas. The developers want more rent so that the end product is more valuable, so that they make more profit, they can actually on-sell that. The site, which is owned by the vendor, they want as higher price as possible. The buyer, me, I want to buy it as low as possible, and the use, they want the operating rent to be as low as possible. So there's a tension, and through that tension, you can have arguments, you can have dislocation, maybe no Christmas cards, etc. But ultimately, anything that you see finished has gone through that hurdle or that process. And often what my buyers do is they see the finished product, but what's behind that finished product is something that's really, really important. And herein lies a fallacy that you often hear within the community, that a lot of these developers are just money hungry and they just want to make a profit and move on. And look, yes, they do want to make a profit, but in order to be a profitable developer, you've got to make sure that the end product is something that the community really wants. And when they're looking at a block of land, they're looking at a use, they've really got to be thinking about the end product. Does the community want this end product? Will it be valuable? And if you get an end product that's really, really valuable and popular, just remember that it's the developer that really thought about this, the developer investor. And they're a very, very important part of our whole capitalist system. And without them, nothing would happen. If we didn't have entrepreneurs and developers and investors that wanted to make or take a risk, pretty much most of the build form that you see around Melbourne or around the rest of Australia would not be in place. In fact, Melbourne started with a grant from the royal family to developers who were able to obviously pick up the land for next to nothing, but they were responsible for spending money to build roads throughout Melbourne. And that's pretty much how our city started, through the auction system. And that's also one of the reasons why Melbourne is very, very popular in, we're the auction capital of Australia, but why auctions are so popular in Melbourne, because that's how Melbourne was created. And next time you have an idea of a use and where this use can be located, think about that there's a block of land somewhere that's sitting vacant that might well be interested in using your idea and to be put to good use. And there may be a developer and investor out there that would like to combine the two to make a decent profit.